What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Investing Bros live afternoon show. We've got a great one lined up for you guys today because literally as we're speaking, Jerome Powell is on the podium. He's taking questions, but in case you have not been watching the charts, everything in crypto is exploding. The dollar is dropping. It is exciting. I do want to warn you guys, this is that classic FOMC day volatility, but we got some exciting price levels to take a look at, as well as cover all the news that you need to know to stay up to date on everything in the crypto world to continue to better your financial state. But before we dive into that goodness, the TA, the news, and everything else, I got to introduce my co-host, Mr. T. Shroom from down there in Gainesville, Florida. T. Shroom, how are you feeling today, my friend?
Tim, I'm feeling better than I deserve to feel.
That's exactly what I wanted to hear from you.
All thanks to the caffeinated beverage that we all know and love as coffee.
Good stuff.
Have you had any caffeine today, Tim?
I am drinking from this drink right here. I don't know what kind of, it's some sort of energy drink with caffeine in it.
Okay.
A little midday pick-me-up, but this will be my last one. Then no more caffeine after it because I want to try to sleep tonight. But I don't drink that much coffee, T-Shroom. I know you're a coffee guy. You partake in the drug, but
Yes.
I try to keep myself clean. I try to stay away from all of the the pharmaceutical drugs that the world tries to throw at you to stumble you and to make you keep you from your dreams and lock
That's
you
right.
down with these chains. And coffee is one of those
Okay.
that falls in that category by
Some strong
definition.
words for coffee.
Yeah.
I am seeing someone very special in the chat. That would be none other than my mother, Susan Shrum.
I see. Yeah. What's
She
up?
said, "Hi, Tay.
Mama Shrum.
Got to have dinner with her 2 days
Yes.
ago on my birthday.
Okay.
So to celebrate, we had a really good time. I don't really have a great transition for this, Tim, but we got a quote of the day here.
Love it. Let's do it.
Faith is taking the first step even when you don't see the whole staircase. That, of course, from the ever-quotable Martin Luther King Jr. What do you think about that one, Tim?
Yeah. I mean, it is true. I mean, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Straight out of the Bible.
I like that.
It is not faith if you have all of the evidence and every bit of 100% proof in front of you. Faith does require an element of I don't know. And you want to talk about faith is, that definitely any type of religion that anyone believes in requires faith. That's one of the powerful aspects of it. But when you talk about being in the crypto market, you want to talk about having faith, you can have all the details you want and things can go awry. I'll tell you guys a little bit about that. I have made some good calls today. I've made some bad calls today because you never know in the crypto world. We're going to cover those and a whole lot more. T-Shroom, are we ready to jump into some charts today?
I think so. I've got some exciting charts to show as well, but let's see what you got.
Yeah, let's do this. All right, so the first thing I'm looking at right here, before I get into Cardano, I've been doing a lot of trading on Cardano. I've been watching that chart very closely. Got some interesting things I want to show you guys there. Let's take a look at Bitcoin, guys. Let's go out here to the 4-hour chart. Let's take down the Bollinger Bands. Love using Bollinger Bands when trading. I explain that kind of more to our gold members. If you guys want to talk more trading stuff with me, yeah, I'm going to dabble in it, talk about some details here on the show, but really the good stuff happens for our gold members, not only in those only bro fan times, only in the bro time Tuesdays and Thursdays, but there's also a special level today. I just started it over in Discord. You have to be a gold member to be a part of it, but I'm constantly throughout the day dropping my thoughts, dropping charts, dropping
good stuff
what
in there,
levels I'm looking at. If you want to be a part of that, you got to be a gold member. But Bitcoin is doing some crazy stuff today. I will say I'm a little bit surprised at what I am seeing right now as we have shot back up on FOMC day to 42,700. We briefly touched 42.9 there for about a second or so. So we're making a move back up. Notice how nicely we have bounced off of. Can this rally just keep going up? We told you guys, and I said yesterday,
Wow.
there is like this magnet kind of coming in right here around 48K. This area to 50K is very, very interesting. I'll go ahead and put a box right there just so we don't have a bunch of Scrabble. Let's go all the way to 50K and we'll come down here towards 48. This area is very interesting. There's actually even a lot of liquidity up there. Let's go ahead and take a look over here. Let's go to Bitcoin. We'll go to a 3 daily chart. kind of take a look over here. We're gonna have to go for. Actually, we're gonna have to go to Hyper Capital. This is the one that's not free. So anyone who's watching this one, I am sorry, and I don't even have an affiliate link for you. I got to hook up with a friend of mine. I'm gonna try my hardest, guys, to find a way to get an affiliate link and even a good discount for you guys if I can. But you're going to see there is some liquidity sitting up here above us. Thank you for moving that T-shirt. There's some liquidity sitting up here at 45K, which would be right around where we passed. But then you see we also have some good stuff happening right here at 48. There's some thin volume right here. So you could see a run up here to 50. There's a little bit kind of popping up here towards 52. But what's kind of surprising me is we didn't come. We were so close. Oh, what did I just do? I didn't even know that was a thing I could do. What did I just do? Oh, okay. We're going to have to reload the page. I just zoomed into a spot that I could not see very well at all. Let's reload this again and kind of do – let's try this without zooming in too far. This level right here of liquidity, right below 40,000, the pocket kind of ends right here at 39,000. Do you guys know what that corresponds with? The CME gap. This is one of the things I will admit that I got wrong. I thought we would take a slight dip first. And to be fair, we haven't made it all the way to 45K, but with the trajectory of the momentum we're picking up here, yeah, we're leaving a little bit of liquidity behind us. If I come here to the 12-hour chart, you're going to see as we're making this which I don't know why it's so thin there, but it is. Let's see. I did that just a second ago. Maybe I can do it again and I can kind of pick up. Oh, look at this. Look at this. I think it's going to zoom in for me. Oh, you learn new things every single day, guys. We're picking up momentum this way. Yeah, you can see a little bit of liquidity back here towards 42.5. Obviously, some liquidity back here towards 42. But, you know, we've cleared up through this way. To me, it makes more sense to make the move up to 45, at least up to 44 and some change first before moving down. But then at that point, you kind of come back out here to the 7-day here, and you're like, well, if we're going to get up here to 45, that would just kind of be a little nuts. It'd be a little nuts to come up to 45, dip back down to 39, and then come back up to 50. So I do think with this move happening, it's not quite there, but if we keep moving to the upside over the next couple of days, hours, you name it, if we hit 45 and we don't continue to push up towards 50, I'm going to go ahead and say, guys, that might be the local top. If we can only make it up here to 44, 45, and then we keel over and start to make our way back down, we might just be seeing that top. And we might find a nice bounce here at 39, maybe make a push back up to 41, 42, and start a slow move to the downside, kind of similar. Let's go ahead and take a look. If we go to the daily chart, it might not be too much of like a blow-off top, kind of similar to what we had back here in 2019. Yeah, there was a blow-off top day, but you guys can see here after hitting 1374, we dipped, and then we came back up to similar levels, and then we very slowly but surely started making our way back down, which ended up becoming a 50% dip. But look at this whole time period right here. That's kind of, yeah, we're setting lower highs, but the same bottoms, that's kind of a slow, methodical move. Could we see the next couple of weeks look similar to that before things get more aggressive with maybe some not so fun ETF news? We'll have to wait and see before I confirm that. But that's kind of my take here at this point is we're getting close to a decision point here on Bitcoin that if we don't keel over, now, yes, a lot of the pump today is from the FOMC. If we don't keel over on Bitcoin, though, and head down to fill this 39 gap now, I think we're either going to make a push all the way to 50 without filling that gap, or we're going to keel over at 45, come down, fill that gap, and then start that little slow but sure move to the downside with this pre-halving bull market top being in. So trade responsibly, invest responsibly, choose the right things, but that's something you should definitely keep your eyes on. If we can't keep pushing, if we don't make a push up here above 45K with confidence, there's a chance we don't end up seeing the 48 to 50. I still think we will. So that's why I'm almost sitting here kind of, if I had to give you my best guess would be that this move, we maybe have a small come back down, down towards 42, and then we start to just slowly make our way up here the rest of December into January. We get up towards these levels, and then January is when things start to move back to the downside with some sort of ETF news. That's kind of what I'm looking at right now, T-Shroom. Let's take a look at some other coins, though. I will have you guys know I did not have time to go put this into the Discord. So I'm so sorry. Bedridden has been really good at responding. So Bedridden, you're getting this live, but I went ahead and entered a short up here at 64, give or take. You guys know Blowfin's a sponsor of the channel. Let's see, I took it at 64.23. So far, I am in profit. So that's a good move right there. But let's take a look here when we go back to the ADA charts. Why did I take a short right there? Well, the easy answer would be if we go and just take a look at oscillators down here on lower time frames, we're definitely getting the overbought symbol. If I were to pull up the Bollinger Bands, which of course I love my Bollinger Bands when I'm trading, we're seeing it, start to keel over a little bit more to the downside. 30-minute chart is where we start getting a lot of the overbought flashes. And we're also seeing some signs of bearish divergence. If that and this 30-minute blue candle holds, that's for sure some bearish divergence right there. A lot of this is overwhelming momentum from the FOMC news, not only being the pause, which we expected, which, by the way, we didn't announce that, I guess, in case you guys are wondering, they paused. But Jerome Powell, who probably is getting close to being finished speaking, I know our views are a little low. People are probably still watching that. They're going to come in. They're going to ask a bunch of questions about all the stuff that we're talking about right now. But let's go back to the liquidity, and I'm telling you guys, this is the new stuff that I'm looking at every single day, balancing it with the charts. This one right here on CoinGlass is free, so if you are a person who loves free, go ahead and use CoinGlass. I do love the information I get from High Block Capital. Let me switch that one over to ADA as well, just so I can show you guys. But you guys are going to see we just came up and we filled a lot of liquidity here. Let's go to the 12-hour on this one. You can go ahead and move it back over for me, T-Shroom, so people can see this. We had a lot of liquidity sitting right here, mostly around the 63 cent mark, but we did have some up here at 65. We went ahead and filled all of that using the free one. You guys will see the same thing. We had some liquidity sitting up here at 63 and up here close to 65. We filled all that. So I saw that. And I was like, all right, we just eliminated all that liquidity. We had some momentum. We know that FOMC is volatile. We know that trading is always volatile. You can go ahead and move me back because I'm going to be done looking at liquidity, T-Shroom. So my prediction is I think that the price of ADA is going to be pulling back here. My guess, I still think it's interesting around that 60 cent mark, but I probably won't leave all of my money in. More than likely, what I'm going to take a look at is potentially getting a move back down here, back down towards 62 cents. T-Shroom, I know I told you I wasn't going to do this to you. I'm going to do it one more time. Let's take a look here. And see if there's anything. See, there's not a whole lot of liquidity. The most liquidity is going to be building, right there around 62 cents. There's a chance we make a move all the way back down towards 60 cents. There you see a lot of liquidity down here. That, again, though, would be a weird movement, in my opinion, to get lower than this low, but it is possible. What I'm loving about Cardano, this is going to be the last thing I say about Cardano, T-Shirt, and we're going to take a break for some TA, maybe do some news, get some requests from other people, because there's a lot of other coins that are exploding right now, so I want to take a look at a lot of them. But keep your eyes potentially on a breakout for Cardano up to 80 cents. 81 cents is what I have right there, but take a look at this. If I clone this nice little flagpole, this moved over to a pennant breakout, would give us a price prediction up there. Of course, you guys know when we're looking at this, if I go to my other chart here from Kraken, which gives you more data, that 80 cent mark comes right along with the Fibonacci 0.5 level. It also, if I come out to the longer time frames and I move my fixed range volume profile, thank you, there you go. We are also going to see 75 cents is interesting with that dip, but we have another dip sitting right there at the 80 cents. So we're getting a little bit of confluence here with Cardano. I talked about this very heavily in the video I made this morning. You guys need to check it out if you haven't already. I talked about 4 coins that I was super excited about because of how low they were. Yeah, that's it right there. Best investments right now. All 4 of them exploded, and I did not, I entered a trade on Cardano, so that was good, but I didn't enter a trade. I was thinking about, I was like, well, I'm going to give it a couple more days. I looked at them. They actually kind of looked overextended, so I was going to give them a couple of days. I'm not going to tell you what the other 3 were. You got to go watch the video to find out. All 3 of them, though, exploded in price this morning. So I didn't even take my own advice. That's another mistake I made today. I did not take my own advice. I did not take it, and those all 4 of those coins exploded. But right now, we are seeing a potential for Cardano to do something that the likes of Solana, Chainlink, AVAX, and other explosive coins have done, and that is get up here to, if not above, the 0.5 Fibonacci level on the logarithmic chart. Now, that's all the TA I have for you guys right now. Hopefully,
I've got some charts.
Not too much. That probably was when you're seeing this explosion, it's like drinking water through a fire hose. But hopefully all of that made sense to you guys.
Yeah.
You get a little bit of the method of my madness on how I'm doing my trading and my charts. T-Shroom, I'm going to take a break. What are you seeing? Maybe on the stocks world and investment world, what are you seeing?
Right. You were close. The treasuries here are telling a story, guys.
Yeah.
Look at the big Tanksky candle here from the 10-year treasury down, now approaching 4% even. This would be a pretty big move because this would put it back to the support levels from back here in March, and also kind of in the same zone as in July of this year. So the treasuries really telling a story of folks rotating into bonds, right? So as those yields come down, people are buying bonds, right? There's less of a need for a greater incentive for folks to buy bonds, so there is a rotation into bonds. Now, there's also a rotation into equities very heavily as well. We're seeing the NASDAQ get bought quite aggressively. It's in the premium zone for Chart Prime right now. It's up 1.29% the NASDAQ, 1.14% the S&P, the Dow Jones also rallying up 1% today. You can see, though, if you zoom out, let's go to the weekly, get a little bit more of a rational view here of the equity markets. You can see it's still a ways away from those all-time highs, but it is fighting for, what is this, the delta line here from Chart Prime, the blue line right here?
Yeah.
It's fighting for that delta line, trying to push through so that it can get back up to the all-time highs that would put it back up at 14.9. Currently trading at 14.721 is the NASDAQ at the highs of the weekly candlestick, I will point out. So looking good for the risk markets as a result of this headline here from the Fed. This is highlighting the 10-year Treasury yield dropping to lowest level since August as Fed forecasts easing rates 3 times next year. So that'll be what we talk about when we get to it. But Tim, that's what I'm seeing on my charts. Also seeing quite a bit of action on the mega cap tech stocks here. They're trying to rally back, but you're not seeing the lion's share of the momentum swing back into tech stocks. It's elsewhere. It's into some more of what we call value stocks versus these higher growth stocks. So the name leading is Apple, Microsoft down, Oracle also notable. I think Oracle got demolished yesterday. Yeah, look at that big red candle. This is the weekly chart. So anyway, that's what I'm seeing on the charts. Ultimately, it's saying across the board that money is flowing. Money's coming off the sidelines into risk, whether that be equities, crypto, and to a lesser extent, treasuries. I don't know if you consider that risk or not. But yep, absolutely. That's what I'm seeing. Tim, are you ready for the factoid of the day?
Dude, I am ready for the factoid of the day. But I want to remind everyone before we move on. Historically, these are volatile days. So why did I enter short in Cardano? Why should you? I saw someone ask earlier, like, "Hey, should we be under long? How much longer are we going up?" Guys, I think the market is still going to the upside. That's if you guys just joined late. We just talked about it. You're gonna have to go back and watch some of that TA on Bitcoin and Cardano. However, it's volatile. These things always happen. If you see a massive pump in one direction, you are looking for a reversal zone, and you can chase it down the opposite direction. And the truth is, the volatility is gonna stay a little juicy, more than likely for at least the next 12, potentially up to 24 hours. I don't make the rules. I just follow them. And historically, every single FOMC day, you get volatility coming in. You get craziness during the announcement and during the speech from Jerome Powell, and then you get a little bit of craziness on the way out. And then markets will go back to kind of more steady, predictable, understandable movements.
Yep, absolutely. Excellent, Tim. Well, the factoid of the day is very much Federal Reserve themed. So we'll yeah, absolutely. So let's get to it. Here it is. Timmy, where was the concept of the Federal Reserve initially planned? Was it New York, Jackson Hole, Wyoming, Jekyll Island, Georgia, or Blacksburg, Virginia?
Well, Blacksburg, Virginia, I love to say D because that's where Virginia Tech is. But of course, I think that made its way in because the elf knew me and thought that I would go with my heart here. But I'm going to go with my brain and say that it's not Blacksburg, Virginia. The town maybe had to do with military stuff, but not financial stuff whatsoever. Jekyll Island, Georgia. Nah, I don't know why. That'd be a very obscure place. New York makes sense because that's where the finance is. But Jackson Hole, Wyoming, of course, is where they do have retreats a lot for the Fed has them now over there when they're talking about yearly plans for what they're going to do with money. I'm going to guess, though, that Jackson Hole, Wyoming might have been the original spot where they came up with it because, of course, they had to still manage the finances before the Fed was created. So maybe that's why they always go back to Jackson Hole, is because that was the birthplace. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm just going to make that guess that Jackson Hole, Wyoming might be the one because, again, they go there every year. So maybe that's why. It's like, hey, let's go back to the birthplace once a year.
Excellent. Well, I'm seeing Alex O Crypto in the chat. Always great to see the Otter Gang represent.
Man, there's a lot of people saying Jekyll.
Huh. Well,
what's it about Jekyll Island? What's at Jekyll Island I
don't know.
Isn't Jekyll Island just like that little, like, isn't there like horses on Jekyll Island?
Yeah, and,
like,
and usually nobody's coming
horses?
up with financial ideas where there's horses. So
they distract. If I'm trying to come up with my best idea and I'm watching a pack of wild horses just run across a beach, I'm not thinking with my clear brain right there.
That's right, Tim. Well, some good reasoning. We'll come back to the factoid and see if you're right or if the growing consensus in the chat
the
that
audience
C is right.
Yeah, the audience does not think that I am right. So
all right.
Ugh. Okay.
It's like the factoid elf may have gotten the upper hand on this one, but we'll have to wait till towards the end of the show to find out. In the meantime, let's get into a little bit of the crypto news that matters to you. This is breaking news from yesterday, actually, but I don't think we covered it on the show because it happened afterwards. But Argentina's president, Javier Milei, announces currency devaluation by 54% and spending cuts in an effort to revive the economy. The new exchange rate has been adjusted. We could be seeing what's to come for other Western nations, such as the United States, potentially the UK, that don't have runaway inflation quite yet. But if their central banks can't get it under control, we'll be next on the chopping block to have to institute a 54% devaluation of our currency and some other extreme social spending cuts. This is the man who's bringing it all to you, folks. If he can get this right here over his term, which I assume is probably like 4 to 6 years down in Argentina, this could be a big moment for the Libertarian Party around the world. And libertarian thought, Hayekian, Austrian economic thought, to try to right the ship of what is an over debt burdened global economy. Well, Tim, did you have any thoughts on this?
No, not really. I mean, again, we were excited, obviously, when we got the news that he was elected president. Him signing in is awesome. There's always that concern. You never know with political figures if they're going to run on a campaign and then do nothing about it. But I feel like this man is going to do everything he said he was going to do. He has been called the Argentinian Trump. Take that however you want to. Is that positive? Is that negative? Obviously, depending on what side you think of Trump, you're going to think of that in the same way. But sometimes it takes a crazy guy to shake things up, to get things back on the road. And listen, with what's happening in Argentina with their currency, there's not a lot you can do to make it worse. At this point, it's just up from here. Right.
Well, there he is. He's shaking things up. Has been quite silent on Bitcoin, though. There's been an envoy from, I've been keeping track of it very closely for you, Tim, and for our audience here. There's been an envoy from El Salvador that went down there to try to start the conversation. And I'm not going to say it went nowhere, but we haven't had any kind of news on that yet. My guess is that Javier and his aides are kind of going slowly into the crypto headlines because they want to make sure that they're appealing to the folks who have a lot to lose first in terms of the people, not so much the institutions. It seems like this regime is much more for the people. So bringing out Bitcoin, it might be a little jarring when these people are in real pain, right? It may not be the best Band-Aid to bring out quite yet because ultimately it is going to be very painful for this country to right the ship. Well, you're not here to find out about Argentina, but we brought it to you. I always feel it's really important because that is an extremely, extremely important story that could be a foreshadowing of what's to come for the rest of the world, just to say it plainly.
I agree.
All right, going right on into the Fed news here. U.S., we already read this headline, but the 10-year Treasury yield drops to lowest since August as Fed forecasts easing rates 3 times next year, which is the big takeaway. Go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, I was gonna say I forgot I was gonna bring this up. Give me don't share my screen just yet. But I actually tweeted about the easing thing. So if, in case you guys didn't see my Twitter post earlier today, this was the chart earlier. This was the CME Futures for March, 52.4%. Predicting before the FOMC meeting today that we were going to stay paused in March, because there's been a lot of uptick in talk about Q1 easing coming in, the pivot coming at the end of Q1. Well, guess what, guys? Now that we've heard from Jerome Powell, 62.8% on the CME Futures tool are predicting we will get our first rate cut in March. I'm assuming they're not saying that for January. Yeah, January is still saying 81% that we're going to keep a pause in January, but we are picking up momentum. We are picking up steam for a Q1 pivot, which coming that early with no economic problems looking whatsoever, this could be, again, the first time, at least in a long time. I'm not going to say the first time in history because I'm not certain about the early 1900s, but at least in the last 50, 60 years, this would be the first pivot that is not responding to a recession, but rather maybe trying to avoid one, and could result in positive price action rather than negative price action for stock market, but in this case, crypto as well, risk on assets. So very interesting detail. We haven't looked at this a lot recently because this has become less relevant to stay up on day to day, but this was a big move today. This is the soonest we've seen it. March, we've never seen them predict before March to have a pivot coming in. So this is big. This is big stuff.
Yeah. So something that slipped through the cracks for me, Tim, but our community is shouting out. Luigi Fibonacci has shouted out something pretty crazy here. I'll jump to my screen to show you. In the past, when the Dow Jones has reached all-time high. That's huge. I'm on the weekly chart for it here. You can see. Luigi said in the past, when the Dow Jones Industrial makes new all-time high, Bitcoin usually breaks all-time high no more than 60 days after. That's his words. I'm not going to be able to verify that quickly enough to say whether or not it's true, but we can assume it's probably true. And then Luigi says, I don't think we seeing new all-time high for Papa Bitcoin, though. Dow Jones Industrial is 6% from the 4.236 extension on Fibonacci. Who let the dogs out? Okay. So an interesting take here from Luigi. I don't disagree with that necessarily. Tim, do you have any thoughts on that? Can that be true? That the Dow Jones and the
that's what I'm trying to take a look at right here. So
that'd be a tight correlation.
Right here. Right here we hit a new all-time high for the Dow Jones on November 9th of 2020. We also I'm looking at a couple of them here. We hit a new high right here on September 18th. Let's see, a new high right here, June 19th. Here, what I'll say, the reason why he's going to be right about a couple of them, right? So, for example, we hit a new all-time high December of 2020, right? So that corresponds to Dow Jones had it in November. We hit a new all-time high in Bitcoin. How it's just so hard to see it like this. No. We hit a new all-time high in Bitcoin back here in April of 2017. So that was the next one. What happened to Dow Jones?
Luigi said except for 2017 was in a wedge bearish.
Okay, well, so I will say, Luigi, first of all, thank you so much for bringing to our attention. It's an interesting factoid.
It is.
I don't know how much I think it matters because Bitcoin hasn't been around that long, right? So there's a lot of things that are hard to say, well, this has happened every time. Because you can say Bitcoin has always done blah, 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 and it might have only done it 2 or 3 times, which is not enough times for you to know for certain 100% that that's a correlation. Also, this market's a lot different, very much different. Something I've said before that I don't think enough people really think about and take into account. Like, a lot of people want to like fuss at the influencers who are calling for $100,000 Bitcoin in the last bull market, right, T-Shroom?
Correct.
The truth is, that was the first time some heavy manipulation got into Bitcoin and stifled it. Let me show really quickly what I mean by that. Let me take down my Bollinger Bands. All right, so I just put them back up. So what you see very frequently in Bitcoin, you see sometime around May, June, you see a peak happen. Am I on the right? Nope, let me go to this one. You see May, June area, you see a peak, a pretty significant pullback, and then a monstrous rally to what ends up becoming the all-time high. So this is the one, 2017, June. We peak out. We have a big pullback. We end up topping out in December of 17. Well, same thing over here. May, April area of 2013. Big rally, new highs, have a massive pullback, and then we pop up and we set our actual all-time high December 13th. So that stuff happens. Well, let's take a look at this, guys. We explode, have a very good end of 2020, explosive beginning to our 2021. We top out in April, May, like normal. That time period in the 4-year cycle is where you have your first big rally. We pull back, but we pull back not very fast, very slow. Why? Because of Elon Musk and China. Both China and Elon Musk, who at this point had gotten heavily involved in Bitcoin, worked simultaneously to really put a lot of FUD into the space. So by the time this momentum kept getting higher and went back to the new all-time high, it barely set a new all-time high because it was out of time to be bullish. In reality, if Elon and China had not been so heavily involved, you could make the argument it wouldn't have gone on this high in price. But if they weren't so involved during the summertime period of kind of manipulating the price of Bitcoin, realistically, Bitcoin should have made a shoot up to, if not above, $100,000. So what's my point in bringing all of this up? My point in bringing all this up is new all-time highs are going to be a little fickle in this next one, because I think in reality, while the market's back on track and the manipulation of this time period is said and done, this really should not have been the all-time high for Bitcoin. We should have gone a lot higher than $69,000. So there is an outside chance that we do see sometime in early to mid, how fast we do stuff with the halving cycle, there's a chance we see a new all-time high on Bitcoin a lot sooner than previous cycles. But it's because we're responding normally right now, when in reality, the previous all-time high should be somewhere already up here at $100,000. But manipulation got involved and kind of killed it. And guess what? Manipulation is going to be involved in this next bull market. I think it's going to start off as overly positive manipulation, and then down the road get very confusing with the institutions being more involved. But there's just a lot of things in Bitcoin's history, kind of going back to this whole point, like, you can say this has always happened, but again, there's not that many circumstances where you can correlate it to make it a 100% thing. There's also a lot of cycles being broken, and especially with more institutional money coming in, manipulation is going to start taking a toll, and it's going to get a little dry. It's going to get a little dry in terms of what could be explosive. I think there's going to be an explosive bull market, this one and maybe the next two. I think the next 2 or 3 bull markets could be explosive, but with institutions being involved, we're going to start seeing a slowdown. We're going to start seeing more like the Dow Jones. We're going to see more like gold, which, by the way, guys, gold exploded today. Our Discord was kind of popping off. I saw that. Crypto Trades is like, guys, do you see gold is exploding right now? Hold on. Let's go look at gold real quick. I want to let you guys know what you have in the future for Bitcoin. Well, let's take a look at the chart, right?
Let's do it.
This is the hourly chart. Look at this explosion, guys. Look at that massive, massive white candle.
Wow.
That's 2%. It's 2%. It's not really that crazy. That's what's going to happen to Bitcoin eventually. Back in the old days, back when gold, when they had the ETF come involved, back here, explosive, very volatile market. And then after the ETF, we had about 8-9 years of explosion, and then we had one more good pullback. But notice we kind of started to get more boring. Like even this rally right here in crypto, that would be like hundreds of percentiles to the upside. This is only a 78% rally, and it took all the way from September of 18 to August of 2020. It took 2 years to rally 78%. That's where the future of Bitcoin is going to get to, rather than with Bitcoin right now, where we can do 2 years. Let's see, like from this one right here, we could do 2 years and go up 2,100%, it's going to get to a place in the next like 10 years where it's like, yeah, bull markets are going to be, if you double your money in a bull market, that was a good bull market for Bitcoin. That's what we're kind of moving on towards.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. I like it, Tim. Thank you so much, Luigi Fibonacci, for bringing that to our attention. I mean, just the fact that the Dow hit an all-time high, guys, right? Jerome Powell has had 0 puts. I guarantee you. 0 puts in December on any stocks. All right, let's take a look at the summary of economic projections really quickly. I'm going to be able to summarize it for you very quickly. So, long story short, this is the summary of economic projections for September, and this is the SEP for December. What do you notice? Yeah. The biggest change is all of the rate. This is a projection. All of the board members of the FOMC say, hey, well, this is where we think the interest rates are going to be that we control. This is where we think they're going to be in the future. You'll notice that it's not one data point, it's multiple data points. So this is September, okay? And then the line to watch here is 4.25 for 2024, okay? It goes down, right? So the overall estimate average comes down for not just 2024, but also 2025. So I'm on December now. Going back to September, you can see it increases from 2.25 as the lowest estimate for 2025 up to 2.5 for September. So did that make sense, Tim?
Kind of, yeah.
Basically, the FOMC is predicting that interest rates will be lower in 2024 and 25 than they thought in September.
No, but they're saying the end of the year is what that's kind of, that's just talking about years. Like that's just showing you years.
That is a good question. My guess is by the end of year. Yeah.
Yeah. So this doesn't really help confirm that March is when the first cut will happen. They're just saying at this point, the members of the Fed, they all agree by the end of 2024, we're going to be low. We will have made at least 1 or 2 cuts by the end of 2024. That could happen in the fall. That could happen in the summer. But a lot of the CME predictors are saying March at this point.
Yes, my mom has dropped a pretty interesting chat here for the factoid.
Yeah,
let's get to the factoid.
I got it wrong. I know. I cheated. I looked it up, but I gave my answer.
Do you want to close the door on the Fed chat, because we've got a couple more stories that'll probably bring us home?
Let's do the factoid, and then we'll get back into the stories.
All right,
and then we'll do some Q&A.
Oh, the much anticipated. Nobody could ever guess what it's going to be.
No, everyone guessed.
You guessed Jackson Hole. It's Jekyll Island, Georgia.
Hey, cool. I learned that new. Thank you to Redman, just gifted 5 Investing Bro memberships. We got Fade and Tradfi, Luigi Fibonacci, French Toaster, Red. How is Redman the gifter and the receiver? But shout out to Redman for doing that. I didn't actually know you could gift it to yourself. That's pretty
interesting.
Cool. Yeah. But thank you. Thank you to Redman for giving those memberships. Those are silver memberships. You guys will get to be in our Tuesday members only streams. That is a benefit there. You also get those really cool green names, badges. You can use those nice emojis that are only for our members. That threw me off though. Thank you, Redman. Your mom corrected me that Jekyll Island is not the right island. I'm thinking of a different Georgia island.
Cumberland
I knew
Island.
I'd been to it on vacation. Cumberland Island. I mix up my islands. Yeah, let's hear Jekyll Island in Georgia. That's where they found it.
Yeah, she also said she apologized for questioning sorry to dispute your word, Tim, she said.
Well, when I'm wrong, and you can dispute. I encourage people to dispute me when I'm wrong. That's the best time to dispute me,
I love it. In 1910, Aldrich and executives representing the banks of J.P. Morgan, Rockefeller, and many more secluded themselves for 10 days at Jekyll Island, Georgia. The executives included Frank Vanderlip, president of the National City Bank for New York, associated with the Rockefellers, Henry Davidson, senior partner of J.P. Morgan Company, and Charles D. North. Sound like an NPR commercial? President of the First National Bank of New York. All these gentlemen and representatives of those days, these were private banks that were doing a lot of banking right? And they all got together on Jekyll Island. They said the matter of a uniform discount rate, aka an interest rate, was formed and settled at Jekyll Island. Vanderlip wrote in his 1935 autobiography, "From farm boy to financier." That is the story of so many Americans. Very, very interesting little piece of history. Now, my take on the Federal Reserve overall is that it initially designed 100% to favor the rich and wealthy, right? But it wasn't. I don't necessarily think it was a maniacal thing. That was just, what you did, and ultimately it has been an instrument, an institution of prosperity for a very large group of people. Unprecedented ability to deliver value and prosperity, but in the present moment, it has not innovated enough to earn perpetuation into the future, in my eyes.
There was a lot of big words in that sentence.
You're welcome, Tim. What do you think about the Fed?
I hate them. I don't know. I'm not as bearish on the Fed as I am the SEC.
Sure,
but I mean, as a whole, I would love to see that whole organization just completely be rooted up, rethought through, redone.
An audit of the Fed per se.
They'll change the details of what the Fed is and does at Jackson Hole, Wyoming.
And then you'll be right.
And then in like 20 years, we'll do another one of these, and I'll be right.
Yeah. I'm sure Jackson Hole is significantly economically significant as well, but I don't know. I think it's just the state part.
At least I was right about you can't make these big decisions on a beach where there's a bunch of wild horses running around. That part I was right about.
That's true. That's
otherwise
they would have done it.
They would have done it at Cumberland Island if they wanted horses.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I actually have a shirt from Jekyll Island. I went and toured there. Nowadays, so a little bit more of storytelling on this bit. Nowadays, it's just a really cool, beautiful place. But Jekyll Island was literally a place for the wealthy and elite of the North, northern colonies. By then, it would have been way more than colony, way forward in the future.
States.
Rich people from the North had
Yankees.
very, very large estates there, and they would kind of come there and pontificate and think about things. And one of the things they thought about was centralized banking.
Maybe some of the things they thought about is, why aren't we on the beach with all the horses?
Yeah. Right. And I went to, and so if you ask people there, though, modern day people that are, tour guides and things, there was even a church chaplain that I struck up a conversation with. They get asked about the Federal Reserve all the time. And they're like, yes, there's, it's historically accurate that they thought about the Fed here first, but there's also tons of conspiracy theories that just get started when you start talking about the Fed. And that there's all kinds of evil stuff going on the island and stuff like that. And they're like, we get so much of that. So it's interesting. It's interesting. And if you Google it, and YouTube it, I don't recommend going down that rabbit hole, but you'll very quickly see what I'm talking about. And maybe for yourself what it is.
Well, let's get back in here and engage with chat. By the way, Redman on a little sprint here, gifting another 5 memberships to Harp, Simron, Meek Vision, The Kid Co. MN, and Buddy. Always gotta love Buddy. Thank you so much, though, to Redman for gifting those. By the way, he said, appreciate the alpha you gave last night. Yeah, I was on the Twitter Spaces. They call it the Billy Goat, but everyone loves Crypto Billy. Him and Redman put on a Twitter Spaces, an X Spaces. Redman, is it every Tuesday night at 9 p.m.?
I think so.
I'd love to come on more of those, but it was a great conversation. I didn't get to stay for the whole thing, but at least the period I was on, we were talking about habits. We were talking about how you kind of build habits in your life, and I love that topic. I mean, that's something that if you guys were in the spaces, I talked heavily. That's kind of formed my entire life, especially with being an athlete, building the right habits when it comes to your physical body, when it comes to your health, when it comes to your work, when it comes to your school, when it comes to your mind. It's a very important thing to me. So love getting to be on those spaces, hearing the other guests. I got to hear from Frankie. Everyone loves Frankie. Frankie Candles. Got to hear who else we hear from. I caught the beginning. I didn't get the whole thing of what's her name? Teenage Crypto. Miss Teen Crypto.
Miss Teen Crypto. There you go. Yeah, she's great. She's got an awesome story too. She started a crypto club real early on. kind of
I've seen like several like, videos of her like in schools, like helping educate like high schoolers about crypto, which I think is awesome.
Yeah, really, really good. A lot of consent forms to use that content, I'm sure. All right, guys, let's keep it moving here. Thank you so much, Redman. Redman and I've kind of been going back. He's got some interesting DGen picks. We chatted a little bit about that on Twitter. But on my screen, you're seeing the X account for Billy Goat Tales. That's where you can find the spaces that we've been that Tim's referring to. I love tuning into these, but last night I was actually at a Christmas party, and it was very nice, very nice.
Welcome, Drew P to Silver.
There we go.
He just joined. Thank you so much, Drew P.
This air horn's getting for money's worth out of it today.
Yeah, it's getting pressed a lot here. Luigi Fibonacci said, "How can I use the membership? What does that do?" Well,
excellent question.
They get badges, they get a green name, they get those emojis, and then you need to connect and use your membership to get into our Discord. There's special levels of Discord that only our members get access to for some more, private conversations. Even though even our free Discord is awesome. Like people spend a lot of time in the general chat in our free Discord. I try to spend some time in general. I try to spend more time answering questions and doing things in the members only though. So if you guys want more access, Silver is a great level. If you want to go all out though, do more talks about trading and stuff, you got to get in the gold membership for that one. But maybe you guys build up to that point. But yeah, it's that easy, right? T-Shroom, just if they go in, now they're members, there's going to be an option just to connect their Discord account into it, and they just get right into our silver level Discord. Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Tuesday, the big one that people love is the Tuesday afternoon live streams, 3:00. So that's when we don't have live shows Tuesdays and Thursdays, that's because we're doing silver members on Tuesday and gold members on Thursdays. And of course, gold members get access to the silver one as well.
For show. Show. All right, really quickly, guys, we got a couple more stories as we wrap up here. BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF now invites participation from Wall Street banks. This is what my 9 a.m. show was all about. You can go back and watch it. A change to the structure of the proposed spot Bitcoin ETFs would enable authorized participants to create new shares in the fund with cash rather than only cryptocurrency, essentially opening the doors to banks who cannot hold crypto directly. So if you weren't bullish enough on the whole Bitcoin ETF saga, now you've got a whole another category to be excited about. Go find this thumbnail on our channel, Investing Bros, to find out more about this story. I go in depth and also do some different TA on some different coins that maybe you haven't heard of. Solana meme coin Bonk down 11% after Coinbase reveals plans to list it. So this is a classic example of buy the rumor, sell the, I guess this would be buy the rumor, sell the official rumor, sell the news. This hasn't a listing yet though. So, perhaps, Bonk could make a comeback when it's actually listed. That would make sense. And then our last, Tim, did you have any thoughts on that? Are you a big Bonk guy?
No, I'm not. Okay. It's been exploding. Bonk is doing great. I mean, we know that the trivia yesterday, wasn't it? That Bonk was the largest mover in the last 90 days.
That's right. Something like 5,000% to the upside. So
a lot. Big move.
Really good gains for the Solana community there. S&P faults biggest stablecoin Tether's USDT as it debuts new industry ranking. This one's actually pretty interesting. I don't really understand exactly what's going on here yet, but credit agency S&P reveals new stablecoin ranking that gives the biggest one, Tether, 90 billion USDT, a poor score. So this begs the question: how? Like, why? Why is the S&P getting in the business of rating stablecoins? It's both bullish because it's like now the S&P and other rating agencies, I guess, feel obligated to even rate stablecoins. So that's bullish because it's bringing legitimacy to the industry. But the other thing is, like, on what, do they have like actual crypto geniuses, crypto experts over at the S&P, or are they kind of using similar metrics that they would like a global currency with a bunch of reserves? I don't know, but it's interesting. It's interesting to say the least. So these are the same agencies that you see the headlines like the U.S. rating has been downgraded, right? That's the same rating agencies also make the argument that they were partially responsible for the 2008 housing crisis because they were inaccurately rating mortgage-backed securities and folks were selling them to anyway. Rating agencies, you can't always count on them 100%, but this is interesting because it's another layer of the TradFi fold that crypto is bringing broad into, just put simply. That's why it's bullish. Yeah, so maybe we got about 10 minutes. Maybe we could take some more TA, or you can tell
just
me.
Questions in general. Did want to say, Redman said, TA, Tim, and T Shroom bringing the alpha every day. Let's support them, community. Thank you so much, Redman. And look, listen, we're growing this channel. We gave outrageous predictions when we started this channel that we haven't hit all those outrageous predictions. But honestly, we're growing a lot faster than I even thought that me and T Shroom really thought we would. And that's because of you guys. We are over 6,000. We're on our way to 6,200 subscribers. So if you guys are not subscribed, I'm sure there's a couple of you guys are watching right now that are not subscribed. Hit that subscribe button. But also, in case you're wondering, hey, Tim and Teacher Room, love you guys. Watch every single day. I see comments literally every day, and I'm going through people saying, guys, you guys are my first thing I watch in the morning. Love getting the TA and the news from you guys. If you're sitting here saying, how do I support Tim and Teacher Room? Well, of course, you can support us financially. You can join memberships. You can use our affiliate links. Anytime we get sponsors, that's the thing that's really cool. As we've grown more and more, we're going to be able to get some sponsors coming in the next couple of weeks and months. And if you want to buy whatever the product is, you can. And if you don't want to buy it, that's okay. And they're just going to help us continue to grow and support us financially. But if you're like, man, I'm not in a spot right now where I can financially help. And by the way, guys, I completely appreciate it. That's something that as we continue to build the channel, I've built relationships with so many of you guys in the community, and there are community members that have reached out and they love us, but they've reached out and they've told us, they just tell me about the hardships, the financial hardships they're going through. And it's really hard sometimes when you're seeing prices get to a level where you're like, I know all my knowledge and education says I need to go buy right now, but because of what's happening in the world and economically, I'm having to sell crypto to pay bills. And this just breaks my heart hearing this stuff. So if you're not in a place where you're financially able to support, I'm going to urge you, do not financially support. Do not spend a dime on us. T. Shroom and I, we're going to keep moving on. Take care of yourselves. Get yourselves financially free. That's our main goal. And if we help you and you get yourself to a level of being financially free and you want to support and throw money towards the bros, that's awesome. But in the free version, if you're saying, Tim, I don't have money, how do I support the channel? Guys, watching every single video tells YouTube that this channel is a great video, a great channel, and they need to push it to more people. Hitting the like button, subscribing, sharing the videos with your friends and your family and the rest of the crypto community so that other people come in. That's what's really cool is the more and more we grow in views and subscribers, there will be opportunities for sponsors and everything else to come to the Investing Bros to support us to keep going. And you guys know something that me and T-Shroom are really big on is as every time we get blessed, this has to do with our faith. Like this, we talked about the quote of the day, had to do with faith. Well, T-Shroom and I have faith in the Lord, in God, in Jesus. And we believe that whatever we're blessed with, it is our job to also bless others. So we've made a commitment to every single time you guys support the channel financially, 20% of that is going right back out to others. We have a couple charities we're partnered with. So I just want you guys to know when you're blessed and you want to bless others, you're more than welcome to bless us here in Investing Bros, knowing that we have that same kind of a feeling like, hey, we get blessed so that we can bless others. And there's periods of time where we can't bless others and we have to take care of ourselves. You might be in that same spot. So help support the channel any way you can, even if that just means I watch every video, hit every single like button, and tell the entire community about this channel. Teacher, anything you want to add to that? And then we'll kind of look at some other chat here.
No, I think it's spot on. I think it's spot on.
Your mom says Mama Shrum needs a great Christmas gift, y'all. That's
Absolutely.
right. When you support the Investing Bros, you're also supporting the Investing Bros moms.
Absolutely.
I hadn't thought of it that way, but that's a good point. That's a very good point.
Absolutely. Yeah. Here's a great encouragement here. Drew P says, you both are awesome. You are great resources for beginners and experienced crypto traders alike. Level-headed, knowledgeable. I feel better knowing my trades have potential. Absolutely. I love it. I'll take the opportunity here towards the end of the stream. Thank you so much for watching and listening all the way through to talk about security, right? And also talking about the noobs that are coming in, right? Lend a hand to folks who are in the chats with you, asking questions, who are in Discords, not just ours, but all over the place. Obviously, do your best to try to limit your sarcasm in this moment when there's a lot of noobs coming into the space. Instead of saying things like, yeah, just FOMO into Dogecoin, right? That may not be the best advice because people may not understand that you're joking. Now, do with that what you will. We're not trying to tell you what to do. You live your life, right? But just have an understanding that people do lose money in crypto every day. There's a lot of depression because people don't really understand the risks of the Wild West industry that they're taking steps into. Help people understand, especially people in your lives that you're trying to orange pill. Be very hesitant to bring them into other crypto projects, even something like Cardano or Ethereum. Help them really understand what crypto is, what Bitcoin is first, before they start taking those baby steps into other projects. Nothing against Ethereum, nothing against Cardano, right? But I genuinely do believe that people should hold Bitcoin for like 3 or 4 months before they start getting into altcoins, regardless of their risk tolerance. They really should just try to understand it.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Well, especially, this time period, you're right, Tisham. Like, I know, like, those of us who have been in the space now for a full cycle, we're used to it. We know that this might not be the best time to be buying a lot of crypto, right? We're like sitting here saying, all right, we might have a little more of a rally. We're probably going to get some sort of dip. We'll probably be a little bit more later. For a new person, though, listen, if you buy right now, even though you're buying at, a $42,000, almost $43,000 Bitcoin, if you triple your money, which you should triple, if not quadruple your money over this next bull market, that's a good investment. You got to start with the safe plays. And then as you build your wealth, you take a small portion of it and you start to diversify and you start to play with it a little bit more. Fade and Tradfi, one of our newer members, said, great content, guys. Always learn something for sure. Yes, we love that. That's ultimately why we're still doing the channel. The minute we're not helpful to people anymore, we will get out of the way. Like we don't want to be a distraction, or like we like to have fun. Like that's the thing. It's like we want to help educate and teach and have a good time while doing it. But if we ever get to a place where we're just having fun and we're just wasting everyone's time, we'll go ahead and get out of the way. We will stop producing content for you guys.
Absolutely. Well, I agree with what Redman said here. If your heart is pumping when you buy, take 6 big, deep breaths and rethink your strategy. It's a good point. Yeah, absolutely. I'll also say, too, and this was some advice that my friend gave me back in the day, way back in the day in college, when some people were approaching me to try to sell me life insurance. He said, were you looking for life insurance? Always ask that question when there's an opportunity that comes your way on your screen. Win $500 in an airdrop, right? Triple think that. Why is somebody offering me $500? And what is the source? Is it coming from an official channel on Discord or Telegram or X account?
Yeah.
If it's not coming from the official channel, chances are in crypto it's a complete scam. It's somebody in some poor nation who's doing their best to try to steal from you, and who knows what they're doing with that money. You're not only losing your money, you're also funding probably criminal syndicates and bad things. So it's your responsibility in this Wild West industry to do your best to not get scammed for your own sake and for the sake of others who could be victims of those crime organizations. So if an opportunity is coming your way, consider it, think about it, but more than likely in crypto, 9 times out of 10, it's a scam, right? If you're going and looking for an opportunity, like an airdrop schedule, there's plenty of websites that have the schedule for airdrops or for NFT mints and things like that. Once you feel comfortable and the actual people that you know are sending you links to opportunities, that's when you're starting to enter a zone where you can trust and actually take action and link your wallets to it. But anything outside of that where it's coming your way from sources you don't know, like, or trust yet, be very, very skeptical, if not just straight up ignore it. Yeah.
Well, hey, really quickly, Eric Wallen is sitting here saying we're stalling. I didn't think we were stalling, but he said we promised them TA. He asked for Caspa TA. You guys, this community loves Caspa. Let's take a look, Caspa. We'll wrap out the show for today. So you will notice that we fell out of this support level of this ascending triangle / bull pennant we talked about would break up to 24 cents potentially. So has that put 24 cents in jeopardy? Yeah, potentially. But one thing I did say when we were even at these levels, I talked about how as long as we stayed above 11.22 cents, this would still be a possibility potential for further move to the upside. Well, yeah, we had a big fallout here a couple of days ago. We fell all the way to 11.50. but yet we are finding support right there and making a little move to the upside. So while this trend line, I'm going to leave it there, while that trend line might not be the greatest, you do have a little bit of a flat bottom right here, kind of developing at 11.5 cents here on Caspa. When we take a look at oscillators 4-hour chart, we've got room to the upside for sure, guys. There's a lot of other coins that you're seeing the 4-hour start to top out, but Caspa, because it's kind of slowed down, one of the most explosive coins of this entire last 2 months of a rally, slowed down here kind of ever since November 16th. Yet that means it might have just been biding some time for another explosive push. Got some good bull signals down here, kind of marking this bottom. So keep your eyes on Caspa. There is getting to a point right now on the hourly chart where we might be seeing somewhere we can move back up towards, if not right at that rising level of former support. Now we might be turning to resistance. So keep your eyes on that. But I'm looking at 4-hour. I see room to the upside. When I look at the daily, I see a green triangle that just flashed. Quick note, what other coin do we see a bull flash on a daily chart? You're not going to see it here on Bitcoin. You're not going to see it on Ethereum. Definitely not Cardano. Not even going to check. There's not a lot of
AVAX.
Coins. Is AVAX? I don't think you're going to see an AVAX. Are you going to see an AVAX? No, close. AVAX, you're getting the reversal. There's just not going to be that many coins you're going to find.
I was taking a wild guess.
No, Pepe's not even close. Yeah, wild guess was worse than me saying Jackson Hole. Bullish flash on Caspa, guys. The last time we got this bullish flash, the price bounced off of 4 cents and went on to explode up here towards 15 cents. So does this mean 100% Caspa has to go nuts? No, it doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean 100%, but it's a good sign. It's something you definitely want to keep your eyes on. I still think that a potential 24-cent action is in play, but at least I think this could make another push back up here towards 15 cents. That's going to do it, though, for the TA. Luigi Fibonacci said do TA on USDC. It's flat. It's at $1. So that's what we're going to do there. It might be hovering at like 99.9 cents, but it's at $1. Guys, thank you so much for being here. I know that we did not get to everything, but here's the thing. When you're our members, you get to have a lot more requests. You get to have a lot more TA behind the scenes. So if you want more technical analysis, you want to talk more trading, make sure you join the gold membership, or the silver membership, get into those conversations, get into our free Discord. There's a lot more happening over there in Discord where the talk never stops. With that said, though, this show is stopping. Thank you for stopping by. Hit the like button, hit subscribe on the way out, and we will see you tomorrow. Adios.
Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor, the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shrooms news, got your word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividends. Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Investing bros. Investing bros. Investing bros. Investing bros. Investing bros.